Hello everyone, my name's Tom Colohue and today we're going over the predicted and expected matches for WWE's Wrestlemania Backlash show coming by the end of this month. There's going to be a lot going on in this particular video, including talk about who is going to be the main event and who's going to be saying I quit. So make sure to click like and subscribe if you haven't already as we jump into the details. Firstly, in a match I expect to feature on the pre-show, I have the current WWE Women's Tag Team Champions Sasha and Naomi taking on Natalya and Shayna Baszler. I know completely that they are currently working against Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, but let's just say I don't expect that feud to continue going forwards. That may be alluded to later on. We did see during their work on SmackDown, the match between Sasha Banks and Liv Morgan, that Natalya and Shayna Baszler were waiting backstage ready to raise hell when the opportunity came. I'm confident the opportunity will come. This is not a massive drop for Sasha, it is off the main card onto the kickoff show, but it does at least keep her on the card, and the WWE are very aware of the fact that in a recent podcast/interview with Logan Paul, Sasha Banks made it clear that she has prospects for Hollywood in her future. Winner I have expected here is still Sasha Banks and Naomi. I expect a new tag team to be taking the championships around about Money in the Bank SummerSlam time. Let's just say that particular tag team may be a little bit toxic. Opening the show for WrestleMania Backlash, I have a rematch of what's going to be several rematches over the course of the next few weeks. That is one official match locked in. Falls count anywhere is what I'm expecting, between Drew McIntyre and Sami Zayn. Now, if you're a regular of this channel, you'll know that I reported when we're next going to see Johnny Knoxville, which, by the way, is unlikely to be anytime soon. So Sami Zayn needed something new. Drew McIntyre is not expected to be stepping up to Roman Reigns until August-September time, which means that Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn is a good way to tide them both over until new feuds begin to emerge. Sami Zayn is being built up to be an elevator. I do imagine he will be reclaiming the Intercontinental Championship soon, but at the moment this is very much a case of Drew McIntyre knocking his head off and walking away victorious. Next up, as I alluded to earlier, I have a match between Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. My expectation is that this week on Raw, Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan will completely collapse, or at the very least lose a match that will lead to their collapse a week after. We'll start to get physical between Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, but the match won't be made official until WrestleMania Backlash. The reason for this is an intended elevation of Rhea Ripley, potentially into a new faction, or at least on the edge of a new faction, and of course potentially being the next challenger for Bianca Belair. My expectation is that the pay-per-view after WrestleMania Backlash will feature Bianca Belair defending against Rhea Ripley, and for this reason I have Rhea Ripley defeating Liv Morgan. Next up, I have back-to-back tag team matches, but only one involving any sort of championship. Of course, this one involves both championships, because on SmackDown, Roman Reigns made it clear that the Usos were coming after RK Bro. They were going to be going to war to become dual tag team champions. Now, RK Bro may have something to say about that, but Usos versus RK Bro, we've had in many iterations of six-man, but I'm very excited for the actual tag match. I believe it will happen at WrestleMania Backlash and be one of the big draw matches for the show. My expectation here is that RK Bro will retain, because I believe it will be for the Raw Tag Team Championships. I believe the month after it will be for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. And I believe at Money in the Bank they will officially go winner take all for all the marbles, and the Usos will be taking it then. So I essentially believe that this will be dragged out over a long time, because the rest of the tag division, though quite good and enjoyable, has been a little bit buried by these two teams. The match that I'm expecting to see, but probably waver on the most, is another tag team match. This essentially will be one faction versus another faction, or at least the birth of another faction. Now, I do believe that during WrestleMania Backlash, it will become official that Rhea Ripley joins Edge's new faction. Edge himself is definitely going to be elevated from this, because I believe we are going to see Edge and Damian Priest versus AJ Styles and Finn Balor. My expectation is that Austin Theory is going to claim the United States Championship, will not feature on this card, neither will the Intercontinental Champion, just to be clear on that one. Finn Balor, bereft and with nowhere to really go, will be somewhat rescued by AJ Styles, who has unfinished business with Edge and Damian Priest and is in need of help. I believe Edge and Damian Priest will pick up the win in a move that elevates Damian Priest, because I definitely see Damian Priest being the one to pin AJ Styles. Next up is a match ostensibly for the Undisputed Championship, that being the combined Universal and WWE Championships. These are currently held by Roman Reigns. He has both individual titles. He will be defending against Shinsuke Nakamura. Nakamura is going to be a thorn in his side for the next few weeks, just popping up, being annoying, and just refusing to go away. This is something of a last-minute plan. Cody Rhodes was expected to be on SmackDown, but the decision was made to go with Nakamura because of the injury to Boogs. Nakamura and Boogs would still be in the tag divisions, but now seemed a perfect opportunity, and let's just say someone with a little bit of sway was able to convince the WWE to give Nakamura a chance. This will not be much more than a chance. I am confident Nakamura will not be winning the championship, but I do believe he may get one second bite at the cherry before going into the Money in the Bank ladder match and leaving Roman be. Next up, the penultimate match before the main event, for me will be Cody Rhodes in a rematch from WrestleMania against Seth Rollins. Now this week on Monday Night Raw, Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins did shake hands, suggesting there may be some sort of partnership in the least, but I don't see any sort of tag team coming to fruition, even against the evil that is Kevin Owens and AN Other. From what I can tell, Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, the feud will now be more about mutual respect and the whole franchise concept. The fact that Cody Rhodes has been backed out of standing up to Roman on SmackDown suggests to me they may indulge in a little bit of time killing before stepping into a position whereas Cody Rhodes is ready to take on Roman Reigns again. For me, this match takes place and once again, Cody Rhodes comes out the winner to level it off, leaving Cody to step in against Kevin Owens in the weeks afterwards. Finally, we have our main event of WrestleMania Backlash, and that will be Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair in an I Quit match. In many ways, this sort of reeks of apology to Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair for not being able to have them as a main event of night one, something that they were originally scheduled for. Not necessarily an apology for Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair, who were also, at least before Ronda Rousey stepped into play, scheduled to main event night one. Ronda Rousey has been trying to catch Charlotte for a while now, trying to catch her, basically force her to tap out once again, as she has done several times previous, in a form of official capacity. Charlotte Flair will be cornered by the I Quit stipulation in this match. Ronda Rousey, for me, forces Charlotte Flair to tap out and then begins to move on to new challenges. Who those new challenges are? That's a difficult question to answer. Sasha Banks and Naomi, having won the tag team championships, eliminates both of strong face potential from competing against Ronda Rousey. Shayna Baszler certainly is an option, and I do believe that feud will come, and Ronda Rousey also wants to work with Natalya. But for me, I'd put her against someone a little bit greener, start her off against someone such as Shotzi Blackheart personally. As regards Charlotte Flair, she will be dropping, at least slightly, down the card. That leaves us with 7 matches for WWE WrestleMania Backlash 2022 and 1 pre-show match. We get 2 tag matches, 2 women's matches, and 1 massive I Quit match. 1 match, of course, for 2 championships, and 1 match that could be for 2 championships depending on how they book it. I'm also very excited by some of the potential concepts that we could be looking at. If you're a fan of the card that we've just put together, or you'd like to suggest some different alternative matches, jump in the comments, let me know, and be sure that you've hit like and subscribed before we move on. In the meantime, I've been Tom Colohue. Thank you for watching.